I never imagined I'd be standing here, telling a story like this. When I married my wife, I truly believed we were a team. We shared dreams, the same drive, and I trusted we both respected what the other contributed. I worked hard, not just for the money, but because it gave me pride. I liked knowing I was building something, providing for the family we talked about having someday. But looking back now, I see she didn't feel the same. To her, my career was disposable, something temporary that could be cast aside the moment it conflicted with her plans. Then one day she made a demand that changed everything. She looked me in the eye and said, "You're going to quit your job." It began when she told me she was pregnant. At first I was overjoyed. We'd always talked about kids, and I pictured us raising them while both of us continued to build our futures. Almost immediately, though, her tone shifted. She started insisting her career was more important, more demanding, and that it made sense for me to stay home with the baby. I assumed she was joking at first. I even laughed, but she didn't smile. She was serious. When I pushed back and said my career mattered too, she waved me off like it meant nothing. "Your job isn't as important as mine," she said. Just like that, as if years of late nights, grind, and what I created didn't count. I remember sitting there, stunned, trying to process that the woman I loved, the one who'd promised we'd build a life together, was telling me who I was didn't matter. That was the first time I felt small inside my own marriage. Against every instinct, I gave in. I quit. I told myself I was doing for the family, for the kids, for her. I convinced myself maybe she was right, that this was the best path. But once I left work, reality hit hard. I lost more than a paycheck. I lost a part of myself. The respect I felt, the purpose my job gave me, it vanished. And she didn't appreciate the sacrifice. Instead of gratitude, I got contempt. If I cooked, she'd roll her eyes. "Well, at least you're good for something." If I cleaned, she'd mutter, "That's the least you can do." It felt as if the man she married had been replaced by a servant. I tried to tell myself it was stress, that things would settle once we found a rhythm. Deep down, though, I knew something was broken. Then she found new ways to tear me down. One night out with friends, someone asked what I'd been doing since leaving my job. Before I could answer, she laughed and said, "Oh, he's a full-time babysitter now." He couldn't handle a real career, so I told him to stick to diapers. Everyone laughed. Everyone except me. My face burned, my chest tightened. I felt humiliated, wanting the ground to swallow me. When we got home, I confronted her, told her how invisible she made me feel. She didn't apologize. She didn't seem sorry. She crossed her arms, stared coldly, and said, "You should be grateful. I'm the one keeping this family afloat. You're nothing without me." Those words landed like a punch. In that moment, I realized I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her prisoner. That night, lying awake, I finally saw who she really was. A few days later, I bumped into an old coworker. He asked why I'd left. When I told him, he shook his head. "Man, you were one of the best we had. Everyone respected you. You had so much potential." His words cut, not because they hurt, but because they reminded me who I'd been. For the first time in months, someone saw me. It reminded me of my worth. And I understood something crucial. The problem wasn't me. The problem was that I'd surrendered everything for someone who never valued me. His words sparked a fire. I started looking for jobs again, quietly at first because I knew how she'd react. Soon interviews followed, then an offer. When I got it, I felt like I was breathing fresh air after being underwater for months. When I told her, she sneered, "Oh, so now you think you're a big man again?" I didn't argue. I simply said, "No, I've always been a man. You just stopped seeing it." From that day, I stopped letting her control me. I stopped tolerating the disrespect. When she realized she couldn't manipulate me anymore, everything changed for her. Suddenly she wanted sweetness, to act like we were a team again. It was too late. I'd learned something painful but essential. My career wasn't the problem. My mistake was giving it up for someone who never valued me. I packed my bags and left. The house we'd built, the memories, the woman who tore it apart. Now, weeks later, I still wake reaching for a hand that's not there. I still hear her voice accusing me of being too much. But I also hear my own voice, steadier now, reminding me that love isn't supposed to feel like suffocation. It's supposed to feel like home. And if she couldn't give me that, then walking away from her wasn't the end of my life.